Well, good morning. I'm here at Hawkesbury River. This is Hawkesbury River Station, and I'm going to board the riverboat Postman this morning. It's a cruise, basically a river cruise, and you follow the river bank of the Hawkesbury River. You follow it up the river, underneath the Hawkesbury Bridge, underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, and on the way we deliver post and produce to the people that live on the islands or along the river bank. The rest of the area is really inaccessible, so the postman is the only link that the people here have. There's the boat. That's the river boat postman boat. This is Brooklyn. This is the once a very, very busy wharf. Once the bridge was built in 1887, the Brooklyn Bridge, it became a real hub for transport to and from Sydney for this area, because prior to that everything had been done down the river and down the coast, and now they had a rail link to take produce to the city, especially fish. You can imagine what a difference that made to the fishermen up here on the Hawkesbury. So the cruise starts at 10 o'clock, so I've got a little bit of time to have a mooch around. It's a very quiet morning this morning. It's just the birds twittering. Can you hear? A little bit of cloud cover. It was supposed to be a really nice day, sunny day, but there's cloud cover at the moment. You see they're working on the boat there. You can see chap opening the window there. It's amazing how many people it can carry. Down below there's a lounge with seating for people who are having their lunch. We have lunch aboard at about 12 o'clock, a salad lunch. When we get on board there's tea, morning tea, which sometimes comes with a brandy snap or with Anzac biscuits. Now here comes a heavy goods train just coming along here, so I'm going to have to stop while it goes past. You see it there in the distance? Here it comes. It's not too long, thankfully. There we go. Yes, it's still a little fishing village. It's fishing wharf, because they trawl, I think they trawl whitebait up here too. I'm not sure, I'm no fisherman. I've got no idea. See, there's the river boatman postman lodge there where you check in. Now, for anyone who's interested, this station for a long time had no lift. So it was obviously for the oldies that were going to do the river postman. It was a challenge to climb these steps to go across and down the other side. Well, now thankfully there are lifts, which I'm sure the river postman is very pleased, because it obviously enabled more disabled people or unable people to get across the railway track. Now you see those palms? The idea is that those palms were planted when George V George VI and the Queen Elizabeth, who were then the Duke and Duchess of York, arrived here. They were planted in their honour. There's a double row of them, but that's disputed apparently because of the age of the palms when they were planted. It couldn't possibly have been the case, but it seems to be a local myth or a local legend. Watch this space for further developments.
First discovered by Europeans in March 1988 when Arthur Phillip come up here with a few guys from the first fleet. He was looking for food and water for the starting crop that he had going down in Sydney. And Arthur put a lot of thought into what he called stuff. He caught lots of mullet, so he called it Mullet Island. He also named Mullet Creek, which is straight ahead of us. Then in 1864, Henry Dangle bought the island. Being the shy retiring type, he named it after himself. He built a couple of roads, a couple of houses, water tower, boat shed and a wharf. Didn't do much of his will until 1886 when he leased it to the Union Bridge Building Company of Brooklyn in New York, who built the original railway bridge across the river. And the old sandstone pylons are over on the left near the new bridge. We'll go past them in a little while. But not much else happened to it till the Second World War, when the Army and the Navy moved in and used it as a base to string boom nets across the river. After the Japanese winter sub-attack on Sydney Harbour, they found charts of the Hawkesbury and the salt they dragged up off the bottom, so they figured they probably should do something to protect the existing railway bridge and the new rail and road bridges they were building at the time. After the war, people started moving in. Currently it's got a population of about 300 people. It swells to about 600 in holiday times. It's a suburb of Sydney. It's part of Hawkesbury Shire. It's got everything that every other suburb's got. And it's got water, power, phone, roads, sewer, interesting sewerage system. It's all pressurised and it runs under the river and back up to Brooklyn. So we've been able to prove, using the right equipment, that it is possible to push shit uphill. The only thing they don't have there is cars. They've got one fire truck and one fire barge. And they've got one council ute you can hire if you're moving stuff. They've got two golf buggies. One golf buggy is used as a Gold Coin donation taxi. The other one's used as a small ambulance. So the main mode of transport out here is walking around. Everything you take home, you stick in your trolley or your wheelbarrow and you wheel it up to your house. So everyone gets to see what you take home. You know, you can spot the alcoholic by the amount of grog people take home, or if you've got a problem or a hoarder by the amount of toilet paper. So everyone sees it, there's no privacy. You've got a day to kill and it's a nice day. It's not a bad trip out on the Dangle Island ferry. Come for a wander around the island.
Yeah, I should do that one day.
On the hill there on the right, up in the bush.
Okay, so we're going to Dangle Island now. If you haven't missed, if you can't hear that commentary, okay.
If you're here from a Thursday to a Sunday,
so I don't know what we're delivering.
Open over in the middle of the island, so you can go play some barefoot bowls and get a drink and a feed at the club. If you come back on the first Friday night of the month, the club doesn't open like night, so the more you drink, the better it sounds.
The commentary is usually very good. Look at the trees coming right the way down to the water. And that's the Brooklyn Bridge, built by the same company that built the famous American Brooklyn Bridge. So we're coming up now to the wharf at Dangle Island. Whether he's going to pick up anything or whether he's going to deliver, I'm not too sure.
Don't be embarrassed doing the Titanic thing on the bow. It happens all the time. Generally doesn't happen this early. No, keep going, keep going. Gives us something to talk about. There's always one.
Looks like he's got something to deliver. There's someone to collect something. Oh no. No. Morning. She can't hear me. So these guys here have there are no cars on the island. You can get here on a little ferry. You can have a day trip here. Just walk around the island. Very peaceful, I should imagine. There's some little coffee shop there, look. I don't know what scrubbing the wharf. Yeah, so she's offloading all the post. She's the postmistress.
They're not kidding when they say they're delivering stuff. Yeah. On Monday night. Is that what there is? So I helped yesterday. I'll be back again on Friday. I don't want school holiday.
So now we're heading towards the Brooklyn Bridge. We'll go under the Brooklyn Bridge. It's a bit of cloud cover today. It's nice. It's about 25, I should think, and it's quite pleasant. It's not too hot. Brought a cap with me, but I don't think I'll need it. So we've just delivered the post to Dangmar Island, and here we go towards the bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is a railway bridge. It's the second bridge to cross the Hawkesbury. You can see there are pylons. There are pylons for the first bridge, which you can see. So you'll see two sets of pylons. One is in front of the other. And as we go through past the bridge, you'll see that there are tunnels.
Telling the train won't stop. Platform's about 3/4 of the carriage long. The only station.
There are tunnels where the old line,
mainly services
where the old line
Northwalk from Sydney to
ran.
Newcastle. It's the poor people who live at Wondabyne have all got their own boats and really don't rely on the train. If you've not done the train trip from Hawkesbury to Gosford, it's quite a spectacular trip.
So it's getting very windy because I'm right up in the bow.
Train now.
So you might not be able to hear. You see the train going across the bridge?
Nice day. So seeing this train just go over the rail bridge in front of us, bear in mind the train's got holding tanks now, so as we do go under the bridge, something drips on you, it's probably just water.
I think the bridge collapsed. He might tell us what happened to the first bridge. But you can see the piers that are holding up the spans, and then in front of that you've got the other piers from the previous bridge. I hope you can hear.
So the rail bridge in front of us, just this side of the rail bridge, are the old sandstone pylons built by the Union Bridge Building Company from 1886 to 1889. And all the sandstone work looks really nice, but they use pretty ordinary concrete under the water, and they never took them down to the bedrock. So over time they start to crack up, they start to sink into the mud. Trains got down to walking pace crossing the river. The tracks were bouncing on the pylons. It became quite dangerous and was irreparable. So they had to build a new bridge. And this new bridge was built from 1939 to 1946, the standard English truss bridge. 6 guys died building this bridge. It was actually 7, but one guy had a fishing accident at lunchtime, they didn't count him. The there is a memorial plaque to the 6 guys over near the entrance to the tunnel over on the left. So if you want to see who they were, you probably get hit by a train reading their names. One guy actually fell into the concrete pour. They claim it was an accident and couldn't get him out. So he's still there.
Oh no! Oh my god, the guy's in the concrete. They couldn't get him out. He's still there. I think you heard that. Yeah, you see now that tunnel there? And then if you're looking across here,
The trusses on this
you
bridge
see
and
the
also
other
these
tunnel
very
there.
road bridge are going shortly. They all put together like big Meccano sets.
Yeah, look at that. So
And they're all built.
under we
Just over on
go.
the left hand side of us as we go under the bridge. So these cutouts in the cliff and all this concrete work over there on the left. They built all the trusses over there and just put barges under them and floated out with the tide. Dropped them on the pylons as the tide went out.
That's where they did all the work, over there, behind that chat. Okay, it's pretty chilly up the front here, so I'm going back inside.
Just coming up on the left hand side, in front of the boat there, there's a couple of interesting rock formations. One there looks like it's got a head on some shoulders. We used to call that Polaroid rock. Now it's a bit more smartphone rock. That was all weathered away by water originally, then wind and sand erosion did the top of it. Just the left of it, there's another one with the black bale of sandstone hanging down the outside. Again, withered away by wind and sand. And then just coming up on the left hand side, there's one here with a mangrove growing out of the front with some pretty amazing colours in it. The both Sydney Basin and Hawkesbury Basin are drowned river valleys, and Hawkesbury sandstone has more variation in its colour than Sydney sandstone, so there must have been more vegetation in this valley millions and millions of years ago, and the rocks were laid down, give a bit more colour in the rock strata than there was in Sydney, which is just over the hill on the left. So we've got one seagull up in front of us here putting on an air show for us.
We're coming up to the freeway bridge now, which I think is called the Hawkesbury Bridge. Quite a few people on board, but you know it takes quite a number, and you're never really aware of too many people. Got the lower deck, which is really where you have your lunch, or it's all basically seating, and there's a bar. I'll go down there in a minute, but you've got this area at the back here in the stern taking people, or in here you have the lounge, where there's a little top deck lounge. We've just had tea and coffee. A lot of kids on board today because it's Easter. Well, what am I talking about? It's holidays, school holidays at the moment. And facilities, unisex facilities. There's the kitchens and the bar.
I was grabbing a tea's house.
Hi, mate.
You get a real experience.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are with on the lower deck. Cozy. And we go through to the lounge. There's the bar. They work really hard. My friend Rob usually does this. He did one of my classes at Hawkesbury Art School. Rob lives on the river, and he often does this. Very busy every day of the week, I think. Even Sundays they do a fish and chip cruise on a Sunday lunch cruise, fish and chips. Look, those ladies have all come colour coordinated. My favourite colour.
Just coming up on the left hand side of us, we've got Sandbrook Inlet, locals call that the gut. If you drove into Brooklyn today, you would have driven past Sandbrook Inlets, and if you had the boats and the wrecks as you came in, actually more boats than people in Brooklyn. Slowly getting shallower all the time, because since the railways built the causeway at the other end, there's no water flow anymore, and every time it rains it just tilts up a bit more. And straight ahead of us we've got Kangaroo Point. About to stop here. Got Mike off. This is the only place we stop other than I did have an American lady ask me once, it wasn't a car ferry, but no, not in 1844. Fairly advanced here, we're not that good. It ended up being a car ferry. The old bridge is heritage listed. We finished renovating the northern end of it. They've been telling me for the last 20 odd years they're going to save and blast all the lead paint off the trusses and paint it with something a bit more socially acceptable. Finally they're starting to do it.
He's just talking about the bridge.
That's apparently the original red lead on there from 1945, so it hasn't done too badly.
The original.
The old bridge is one lane each way.
The old bridge is this section, and then you've got the new bridge.
South back into Sydney to 1973. The new bridge was finished, the bridge, which is 3 lanes each way, and that was built from Sydney to Newcastle Freeway.
Can you hear this? I don't know. Hope so.
Freeway wasn't actually free at all. I reckon the traffic's bad now. Should have been here when it was 1 lane each way.
Yeah, the guys are working on the bridge, you can see, but I don't know what they're doing. This is the freeway bridge. This is the bridge that takes all the main traffic on the M1 or the F1 down to Sydney. They're doing a lot of work. You see the painting going on, perhaps. And there's the new bridge. We're going onto the new bridge now. The old bridge, is that taking any traffic? Yes, it is.
It's up about 8 kilometres down behind us, Broken Bay. Starts about 120 kilometres up in front of us, around Penrith. Changed its name to the Clean River. It's fresh water, flows up to Lake Burrong where Sydney gets the water supply from. And it's up to the Holland River down around Goldman. It's warm up. 450 kilometres long. It's got all these different names, discovered by different explorers. No one's ever got around to changing the name back to one river. But Arthur called the Hawkesbury on his second trip up in June 1789, named after his mate back in England, a guy called Charles Jenkinson. So it's obvious why he called it.
A lot of stuff he's saying I can't hear him.
First earl of Liverpool, also Baron Hawkesbury.
Shame.
The Aborigines called this really
Getting, as the river gets narrower, we get to see more spectacular scenery. That's Milson's Island, which is a training, a place for sort of a resort training for kids. Used to be a detention centre for Aborigines, alcoholics and whatever else. Got a very checkered history. It's quite a large island. We would have dropped off the post, but the river level is too low for the boat to get in there. Really starting to get very picturesque here. Here we've got HMS Parramatta. He'll tell us all about it. You can see a section of it there. It's an old wreck of the HMS Parramatta, part of which is the bow of which I think has actually been placed on the river, on the Parramatta River, just as you come into the city. This is the other remnant of it sitting here. He'll talk about it, but it's hard to hear because of the wash, the noise from the wash. I'll go to the other side so you can see. Starboard side. Is it starboard? Oh god. Anyway, we're sort of coming up to it now, and he'll be talking about it. Look how green the water is here, and there's lots of jellyfish. There they are. Can you see the jellyfish? Loads of them. Can you see the jellyfish? They're not very big today, but sometimes they're really big. Here we go, we come up to this. There's a little waterfall.
Excuse me.
There's the head of the boat on the right, branch sticking out over the water. We've got another seagull just flown down and landed in that. See his white belly.
And there's a nice little waterfall. And there's something sitting on that branch over there.
Just past the seagull on the right there, there's a little gully, a little sandstone cliff with a waterfall trickling down.
Sitting on the
For some
branch.
reason that's called Cascade Gully. When we get really heavy rain, water pours out of that waterfall. The amount of water coming out is unbelievable. And the next gully along in front of us on the right, water pours out of that as well. There's no soil at the top of the hill to hold any water, so as soon as it stops raining, this next one dries up and this one slows to a trickle. At the bottom of Cascade Gully there's a shipwreck. It's the wreck of the HMAS Parramatta. It's Australia's first warship, built in Glasgow in 1910 and sailed out here by an Aussie crew, but as we had no official navy at the time, they used English officers to run it. And the engineer miscalculated the amount of fuel it needed, ran out of coal 12 miles out of Darwin and had to get towed in. That's how it started life in the Navy. When it got here, it was changed to run on shale oil. It came from the shale mines at Newnes and Lithgow, just west of Sydney. It became the template for other river-class destroyers, all built in Cockatoo Island and Sydney Harbour. Did service in German New Guinea, then went to the Dardanelles in Turkey. Its claim to fame, it's the first Allied ship ever to sink a U-boat. rammed the U-boat crossing the Dardanelles and sunk it. It was decommissioned in 1928 and moored out here as a hulk just to hold building materials and water and gravel and stuff for people building houses up the river. 1934 there was a storm, got washed off its mooring, it landed over there and it's been there ever since. So in 1973 the Navy came and cut the bow and the stern off. So if anyone been past Garden Island, you'll see the bow, the Parramatta Garden Island. You go to Parramatta Ferry Wharf, you can see the stern. You measure ships from bow to stern. It's possibly the longest ship in the world because they're about 25 kilometres apart. One of its sister ships, the HMAS Swan, was moored off Little Wabi Beach, which is over past Anger Island. It went down the storm in 1933. But I can't show you that one because it went down in 70 feet of water. I have dived on it, you still can't see it, you just bump into it in the mud. Again, over on the right, these white posts, that's another oyster lease.
Annoying.
How are we? No, it's fine.
He gave the two dogs some, looked like Devon sausage or some sort.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, bye bye.
You want to take that?
Bye bye.
Well, I ain't gotta wait for Tom. Tom's up there. He's probably gonna win, yeah. Right, oh, God.
You see the few trawlers out this morning, went past one back at wreck of the Parramatta, another one in front of us here. So they're all out looking for Hawkesbury River school prawns. They're all starting to run again since the rain.
Looks like we've got our condiments for our lunch have arrived on the table. At this point I start to get very sleepy. Coming up for lunchtime, I think. We've got our condiments on the table. Everyone's really started to relax now and just take on the ambience of river cruising life. It all begins very frenetic at the beginning, but gradually as everyone becomes acclimatized to it, it just becomes lovely and slow and leisurely.
Postmaster's residence through 1872. So prior to 1872, you had mail going up and down the river, give it to someone and hopefully it got there. It was all formalised then, dropped off at that place and distributed from there. It was a really rough track coming down to the old North Road, or Wiseman's Ferry Road down to that place. And this post run we're doing today has been going since 1910. All the mangroves on the left hand side of us, stretching out as far as we can see in the front. It's what called Gentleman's Halt, as far as Arthur Phillip came in 1788 and 1789 when he was exploring. Being the civilised Pong, camped there overnight, called it Gentleman's Halt, because the gentlemen halted there. I reckon the reason they camped there and went home is probably because they got eaten alive by mozzies, thought, no, we're out of here. If you kept going around the other side, you would have seen the river start to open up into some beautiful, beautiful big floodplains, but you never saw that.
Look at this, it's just
We went round the other side of it,
flat as a
we end
tack.
up in a town called Spencer, which is on the Wiseman's Ferry Mangrove Mountain Road. Spencer's got a general store with an interesting liquor licence. You can buy grog from the general store, but you're not allowed to drink it there. You've got to cross the road and drink it in the park or on the wharf on the other side of the road. They've actually got a picnic table in the park registered as the Dunkirk Hotel. If you go further upstream to Gundren, they've got a picnic table registered as the Tobruk Hotel, same deal.
Beautiful, isn't it? It really
You might
is.
notice the mangroves on both sides of the river have started, the front row of mangroves have just started to die off a bit just in front of us. It's totally natural, not man-made. Since the last lot of floods we had a couple of years ago, the river changed shape a bit, just silted up a bit on both sides and it suffocated that front row of mangroves.
Did you hear that? The river rose and suffocated the mangroves, so they're just dying back on the closer to the water. Beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely lovely. Shame the sky is not blue, but there we go.
Just ahead of the boat, up on the right hand side, look up in the trees, there's a pair of seagulls, white-bellied seagulls sitting up there.
Oh yeah. I'd have to zoom in.
Not only do they sleep together, they actually sit together and talk all day. The same branch.
I've lost them. Looking for two seagulls sitting on the top
Straight ahead of the boat.
top of the
You might
tree.
see some boats and wharves and
No, can I see them?
boat ramps and big buildings over there, just straight ahead. That's a spot called Windori Creek and Greenman's Valley.
They're white.
It's a caravan park and that's accessible by a fairly rough track that comes down from Mangrove Mountain.
There's two of them sat up there. It's
It's called
white.
Greenman's Valley because years ago one of the locals
Can't see
murdered the
them.
barmaid at the pub.
Coming up to a tiny little settlement here. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Zoom in again. There we go. Imagine living here. I mean, a lot of these are holiday lets and holiday homes and Airbnbs. friend of mine, Bob, who used to do my watercolour class at Sydney Art School. He's got a property up here on the river, and he lets it out as an Airbnb. It's beautiful. I'm just wondering if we actually passed it, because I'm not too sure where it might be. Let me just zoom out a little bit more. That's better. So quiet. So quiet. There'll be a point where we
One of
can't.
these houses on the right hand side of us, it's got called Marlow Creek. This was a naval orange orchard run by Don Marlow, and again subdivided in the 1930s. Permanent population here of about 20 people.
People. Look at that. You'd be a bit worried about all those rocks above your head, wouldn't you? A little bit. Because some of these sandstone cliffs are not that just gliding along.
Just got a couple of old sandstone houses coming up on the right. The older one with a veranda out the front, little 2-bedroom cottage. Don's homestead, built in the late 1800s there, and the one next to it, the 2-story
That one's
one,
for sale, look.
built in the 1960s. Footings weren't as good, so the walls are cracking up.
There's a sandstone cottage there,
It's a
look.
house for sale if you've got to spare 900 grand.
900.
Bit of live music, good stuff. Place I really like here though is the green garden shed with the ensuite tacked on the end, slow combustion stove. Reckon that'd be nice and warm in summer and cool in winter. Wonder if that was ever approved by council.
I don't know why that woman did that. Why did she do that? She's a bit loopy. Eh? She just went woohoo, and maybe signalling this person coming down with the sack for the post. Look at those trees. I wish I knew the name of that tree. Can you see those? Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look it up. There's a bougainvillea there. I think that's a... I'm not sure. Oh dear. Sort of tropical here, look. Swallows dipping over the water. They got it really well organised here, look. After you. Unbelievable, the service. This is our salad lunch. I'm up top, so mine and the people up top will be brought theirs later, and the bar is paused at the moment for serving. Amazing, isn't it? They do it so well. Look at that. It's fabulous. This happens every day, so I mean they must get used to knowing that it's going to happen and that they get a little treat. That's great roast beef as well. It tastes really nice. We just had lunch. This is their own little republic flag. They've got their own flag, this little settlement here. Milson's Island. Look at that, isn't that pretty? There we go. We're heading back now. Really, really beautiful, isn't it? Really peaceful, really beautiful. I've just had a glass of Pinot Grigio, so I'm feeling totally at one and at peace. If you ever want some R&R, just get onto the website, onto the Riverboat Postman website, book yourself a little tour, a little cruise. $55 for seniors, lunch included. Honestly, you wouldn't go far wrong. See the bridge now?
There's the bushfire brigade office over there. We've got a new boat. New fire brigade boat.
Fabulous. All right. Well, I won't do any more filming because it'll all be a bit repetitious. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be posting this on YouTube as well.
Right there, that's where that
so
a few weeks ago.
You'll get a chance to watch it there or to watch it on the Facebook page. It's probably more downloadable from what I put on YouTube. Okay. Have a good time. Bye bye.